This call.
Okay, we have 3 work sessions this week. All right, do we have? We're going with Herb Z.
Minutes.
Yeah, that was Kathy and Joe.
Yep.
Or is it Herbs?
Herbs.
Herbs.
I got a USB.
It'll go into the back. Can you state your name?
Tim Boyer, I know June Romans Land Survey. Am I missing where this thing goes here? Is that this side?
Oh, no, no, it's up to the back.
It's up here.
I can see the screen if it's here.
Like on the wall here?
Right on the computer. Yeah.
Hey.
And then you can, the mouse is over there in the drive. So here we're in concept.
Yes, here for concept.
We'll run in 10 minutes at most.
Pretty straightforward. I'll be fairly quick. This project is located at the corner of Court Street and Midler Ave. It's an industrial project. It's in an old abandoned bank property. It's all industrial. It's about 1.5 acres. Applicant is here to answer any questions. They are looking to use it for a cannabis dispensary. I don't know if anybody got any of the information as far as gonna be sales, retail, and that kind of stuff, what they're gonna be doing at the site. But there's plenty of parking. If you go to the second page here,
And this is retail, not consumption, right?
this is retail and not consumption, correct? I want to point that out. Mostly they're proposing not to really change anything physically to the outside of the landscaping or the overall site. We are going to be doing some landscaping and improving the building aesthetics, but mostly keeping everything the way it is. There is a drive-through they're going to utilize, and they're going to utilize this existing block building for storage, correct? Yep. And again, there's nothing really physically changing with the site. They want to get in, operate, make it a little better and start going.
Well. That's an interesting question about the drive-through
Okay.
issue, because we do have specific rules about drive-through.
Okay.
So I have to look at that. The other threshold question is, did you do the radius study about the location? So there, if you look at the cannabis
500 feet.
legislation,
It's 192.69. And it's from
correct,
property corners, property lines, anything within 500 feet to schools and libraries.
Mhm.
Anything.
Right, yeah, 192 dash 69.1 and
And Doug, I know you've done extensive research on this. Does this fall within that area? Have you seen? That was the question that we posed to the applicant.
Oh, we can find that out. That's not a problem.
Yeah, do all your studies on that, make sure it is.
other thing is that there does need to be a specific use permit.
Correct. Did you get through the
So
process?
did you make that application?
Yeah, this board, this planning review is part of that application. That's
Correct.
yeah.
So, but you've made that the separate application for the specific use permit,
Yes. Yes.
so. Right, so there would be a recommendation on that after we looked at it to see if it's even a correct place for it.
Okay.
You modifying the building at all?
No.
Is there any indoor retail or is it all just strictly?
There is indoor retail there, doing some modification inside, they have a packet I believe was sent in with the application.
The interior, is new, we're not changing anything in the walls, no existing structure, nothing like that. We're just going to add the clay cases and essentially that's all we would have in place and just painting the walls. As it currently sits, it's pretty perfect for this board. The counter area is new. We would just be setting up our stations there. We would be altering any other parts of the location.
No modifications to the exterior of the building.
In the package here,
Storage, so except for storage.
yeah, the interior folder.
Yeah.
So the exterior, that's currently as it stands, we did clean it up a little bit, so you can kind of see it better. So that would be like our proposed sign location when we do initiate the sign and everything like that. And we're also thinking of perhaps having a drive-through and sign on the other wall there, so you can see it driving down and yeah.
There's two streets, sort of making it storage.
If there are two buildings on this lot?
Yeah, that is
What,
correct.
sorry, can you repeat, what's the function of the second? one? Just storage. Just storage, what?
We will be storing like our delivery vehicles in there. As it sits right now, it wasn't old big mechanics garage. So it has a lift and everything like that. We wouldn't be using it for any sort of that purpose. As the building is, it's hollowed out, there's nothing in there. So if anything, we just leave our cars in there just for them to have a safe place to park there.
It's a non-heated structure in water. It's a garage, you know, like a mechanics garage. Brick building, brick facade,
This is that structure.
yeah.
So you have the. This is that garage right there and then.
It does.
Anyway, so I know additional use can be on the site, so just be accessory to that, or so existing structure.
Accessory use to the frame.
No, yes, if it were accessory to the primary use, it could possibly be utilized with, site plan. But right now they're saying they're not going to do anything with it, and it's just saying anything else.
Cleaning up the landscaping around that structure.
Yes. No, I apologize, I didn't put in some new landscaping around there, I will add that with the site. soon.
For the existing structure. We will, whatever we have to do to make sure that it is up to code, we will do it.
Yeah, there's no plans, right? They're functional, when we walk the property, they open, close. If I don't recall, the broken glass,
I'm just looking.
It's like an old Google photos.
It looks like plywood in it right now, so I.
Yeah,
tell
that's
what's going on there.
yeah, I mean, you know, tighten that up and.
Yeah, I think it's
Throw
just
some building on it.
If you're taking over a new structure, it's our chance to get you to clean up the property and it's entirely.
Yeah.
That structure there, so that has to be done to some level. Looks like it's part of the thing, not just a leftover.
Yeah, I mean, it's in our best interest, obviously, to like tidy up the place a little bit, I mean, yeah, for sure, you know, I mean, things like paint. Fixing broken windows, for sure.
Raising the shades.
I know.
Okay. We will review this.
Okay.
And we'll look to get back to you with any comments.
Perfect. We'll get you the answer on the 500 foot.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep that. Take care of your Bible.
All right, perfect. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Residential and
You get to cry all night.
You wanna go ahead and state your name?
Sure, Nolan Kikoris, so.
Can you spell your last name for me?
Sure, here, yeah, card.
Thank you.
And then same, we'll. Initial presentation, so we'll go back and then.
Okay, perfect. So this is a pretty straightforward proposal here, I think. Essentially, what's being proposed is expanding the existing Cryomet property, which is this one here in the middle. It's currently 14 acres in size. And so the proposed subdivision would add 12.68 acres to that parcel. So it'd be adjusting the lot line of this northern abutting property slightly. But the majority of the land would be coming from what's currently this lot abutting on the east, owned by Midcourt Builders Corp. And so that would change this lot from what's currently one lot to two lots by extending these property lines back and dividing that property in half. So the lot down here would be a new lot. It has road frontage, and then the northern boundaries of this lot would.
You just trace the new property lines again?
Sure, yeah, so new property lines, and maybe I can zoom in a little bit here. It's,
Disclose your tools. To the-
oh. Yeah, so the new boundary line is the existing boundaries right here. So it'd be moving this up 86 feet and just running directly back to cut this lot in half. So
So where it says lot 1A was part of 2A above,
correct,
and so running the property lines straight back,
correct.
and then you're fixing the bottom property line as well?
Yes, so the bottom property line, currently this 2A and 2B is all part of the same tax parcel. And so the boundary for that, it runs along this right here.
Yes. So 1A becomes all from us, so it's
Removing that.
this.
Eastern lot.
And I have the,
You have a copy of what you're proposing, and if you recall, this was in earlier this year. There's an extension on the building.
Yeah.
And it was tax repercussions. With the subdivision. I think we'll just couple of notes. We do a deed restriction or something.
Yeah, I think we let them have an easement,
Yeah.
is that right? But I would like to pull up that original subdivision map before. That's better. So I'd like to see what
I would have a copy of that here too. That'd be helpful.
do you have it on yours?
Yes, I just, not sure how I get back to the, here we go. So this is the current subdivision plan. Yep. So existing Cryomet Properties lot 1 on this map, and then you can see here, this is the Midcourt Builders lot. It runs all the way down and around. So they're proposing essentially just to extend these lines straight back, yeah.
Some discussion about that lower lot. Was there a concern about whether it was buildable or?
The discussion was partially unmarketable and they would be able to use it to restrict it and just not make it stand fine. Market that needs for another potential.
So it's potentially buildable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got that road, that road from that side.
Yes, it's
I think it's gonna be, yeah, I think it was gonna be a little bit smaller than the Cryomet facility, but that was the long-term plan. But, yeah.
Drainage easement that you've seen, so that goes down the angle, is that in lot 1? I think. Yeah, go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, your property line, down 45 right
45,
there.
it jig jogs around, keeps the drainage inside ground. Okay.
Spring. Is there additional?
Was discussion about EV chargers, right? And the chargers were going in front of it. They were at the
So it
side.
really doesn't change the site, this doesn't change the site plan, it's strictly.
No, but-
subdivision.
Yeah, but it would be helpful. They have a good second way. Show because I think the building extends now.
Yeah, it's bigger.
Yeah, that's the old building.
So how does,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
there's a border here.
Google has the old.
Right, the new. That's the extension on the back. So we want to be able to capture that. Correct. Incorporate it to it, so the area we're moving. Now, but we're improving the subdivision, which allows us to then. move.
Well, it's already approved, the addition and the newer buildings approved, but our code does require that all improvements on a subdivision to be shown. Because you don't want there to be a confusion, although it looks like any setback problems are solved with the way they're taking up that lot line. So
So the update to this plan will be to show the building.
Yes.
I mean, could very well be that. Like construction based on. Construction financing. Long-term financing. Somebody say. Sure. That's all right.
I think that's probably, that's part of the.
so let's go over that one.
So we'll just have to chat when it comes in. Sure. Fine. When it comes in, we'll make sure setbacks. What percent that's in, but should be a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Or anything else?
Yeah.
Did we send this to county yet?
We sent it to county, which came in, because it did show. Subdivision in the back, yes, they were back because of the tax. Tax issue.
Our.
Okay. Thank you. Quality lines.
You know, it's time.
Oh, all right, thank you. Just I used that last week, but it's not plugged in.
Yeah.
Chasing cords back here.
Yeah, all right, there you go. Yeah,
It's reading now.
Thanks for having me before you. I am not sure who that's the client, the quality lines. He sent a document. It's
Go ahead.
Sure. Quality lines. He sent a document introducing the company. It's rather long, so I'll just. What they do is they take emergency situations and they use trucks and correct power lines, flooding, and things like that. So they have a series of trucks on site that have to be put in emergencies. And that plays into plans here. All right, so this is existing. Yeah, so all we're doing here in this red here, this is our only demolition. It's an existing wooden stockade style fence. We remove that small bit of fence. And then what we're proposing adding is a gate fencing from here around, sorry, it's must go crazy, to here. So this L shape here. And then crossing the road, there's a fence there, or a gate there, a little bit of fence here, and then we're proposing an evergreen screen across the front. And many of the trucks will be stored to the side and out of sight, but they can't fit quite all of them. And as sort of an added security member, as an added security style of management, they want to have as much of the trucks protected and out of the visibility and sight of the road. So we're on Fisher Road here, and recently it's very open. And so I think for them, it's more about adding some presence and something in between, just to kind of designate how we feel the actual game. Other than that, there's really not much else to it. Truck spaces are to remain. There's really no added pavements.
But the extent of the fence is, there's a gate on the south road.
Yes,
Under the building across, how far does it extend down, just to the other side of the drive aisle there?
right here, yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
there's just a fence there, which goes from the corner of the building down.
Yep,
Then you're using evergreen screening from the corner of the building up to the gate from the north, no fencing or anything there, just evergreen screening.
Yep.
A fence that goes north and then turns east and runs down.
yes, until the
two
woods.
properties until the
Yeah,
woods.
it doesn't go all the way back just to the woods, right?
It's a chain link fence,
It
what
is,
style fence are you,
yeah, it's an 8-foot chain link fence.
any security wire on top of this, I mean, what is it gonna look like?
I'll show you the detail. It's just a chain link fence, there's not, it's, like I said, it's more of a. It's instead of it being Fort Knox, it's just we're putting the fence up, and they have, a lot of the buildings and equipment will be protecting it. So the buildings will protect the trucks most of the time, but you have the chain link fence, this is an added icing on the cake. Right,
Well, can I ask, can you go back to the site plan?
yes.
Is it really your intent to fence off kind of the parking area versus kind of the back area? In other words, is it necessary to wrap the fence all the way around and create this barrier instead of just fencing off where you might really need it, which is I understood kind of in the back.
Right, oh, so I guess we're sort of acting like. Anyone who has sort of a bad intention here would be utilizing a vehicle to get on and off site, and I think what they're really trying to protect is catalytic converters. We had another client came to us, similar situation, they needed a fence with the drive aisles and a gate because someone came in with a truck and they stole 150 catalytic converters and they made $500,000 if we sell them, so it could happen, and that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. There's a situation maybe a year ago, the guy stole a U-Haul and doing tools and stuff.
What can stop somebody from stealing a catalytic converter, I think we just.
Oh, they have to carry in my hand, I mean. I don't know, It's
a speed thing.
It's a client, good, not mine. I'm not a security expert.
Pretty sure that it's a crime of convenience at that point,
Right.
like they got 150 because of that, but if they got just one, he's okay with it.
I never said that for the record.
What's the property to the north?
That's a great question. We're headed up towards, at the T is beginnings too, I don't know what this is, I'm sorry.
The other thing, Doug, my understanding is
Structural associates, yeah.
solid trucks. It's basically the same facilities.
What was it?
It's an unmanned facility.
Correct.
So that all your trucks.
Even where the cars are parked, you're saying that's all converted to trucks?
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Yes,
Box trucks.
about that size. They vary, really, and I think the name of the game for them is the more valuable vehicles with better equipment and stuff, they stick inside and the extra, they'll do it.
I understand because they have an emergency with their. Trucks and.
Yeah.
Utility trucks.
And varying for like what they're doing, a lot of it's electrical work, but to different heights.
The original solution that came, that they wanted to expand all the parking down over here, right, before they got Christian. Change all that parking, it's a lot better. I'm sure Christian saw it. But they're pretty consistent with routes.
The swing gates,
This one's they're both slides actually. Yes. This is a slide. Yes. Yeah, absolutely, thank you.
Even if it's like sheets.
Check that, it changes on,
Changes by locations.
it changes by
Six
facility.
max, right, that's.
That's true.
no other site lighting improvements or anything like that, part of this security array?
It's all on building currently, not too far out.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Great, thank you. AW Properties.
Yes.
Record, my name is Kevin Kane, an architect, I'm Dale Kane, so. I'm here tonight representing KW on the property by LLC. The owners of the now vacant Fire and Shine restaurant, 6393 on Thompson Road. We're here tonight to request concept site plan review for approval for adding approximately 200 square foot facility structure to the southwest corner of the building. Thank you.
6393.
6391.
I know it's a 6391 on the sheet.
Property owner 6391. Property 9 months.
You can rotate this.
Is it right hand side? Down.
There we go. Okay. The position on the site is approximately the southwest corner. And the depth from the face of the building to the face of the curb is 10 feet. The cooler is 12 foot by 16 feet 4. So we need to expand the parking lot approximately or actually 2 feet 8 inches. So that we can accommodate a consistent level concrete pad for the cooler. And we would just adjust all of the parking spaces south by the same dimension. The other change that this would propose is there right now is a drop curb at this location and at this location, which really limits the handicap to the adjacent stall. And what we're proposing is to move the drop curb on the change side of the parking so that we can flank the pedestrian access aisle with an additional space. We have 22 spaces at the restaurant, which is consistent with the zoning requirements for the type of use. And an auxiliary structure is a permitted use in the industrial zone. We are asking for no relief from any of the site plan requirements regarding lot coverage, density, impervious surface. We anticipate the minimus increase in surface runoff simply because there is a small patch of grass here that will be covered over. I can scroll through these a little bit more detail. It will be accessed from the back sidewalk. So we're not going to be adding any occupied space. It will fit fairly neatly, other than that addition, shifting of the parking field. And aesthetically, it really isn't going to diminish or enhance the building. It's going to be relatively consistent. It's, as I said, 12 foot by 16.4, just under 8 feet in height. So it fits under the eave. And if I could bring up, I took the liberty of creating a couple of images here. Just how to get to my file.
The yellow down.
Yellow down. Yellow down. File. Here,
Go to the left. That one.
There you go.
There we go.
What is the material? Are you outside?
it's metal.
Sorry.
It's metal panel. It's like metal. So that's it backwards. I wanted to show you the before shot. No, if I was home, I could do this. Whoa. Anyways. I have 3 other images, but I stay here way too long. So,
Are there options for other skinning of the cooler?
And could we bring the materiality of what's on the Steve Diner? It's got to it, with fans on it. What's the question? On the property.
this is Tom Leshek.
I'm just looking at this as an addition, so it doesn't look like we just stuck a metal block.
Well, no, it's actually a refrigeration cooler, a walk-in cooler that was at the Burger King up the street. That when they removed it. Yeah, so I got it lined up to go there, and I've got a restaurant ready to open, and they need that walk-in cooler. And so I got covered.
So I guess the question is there an opportunity to skin that so that it looks like?
We wanna make it look good, you know, my building, my office is right next door, I try to keep that whole area nice, so once we get it installed, I mean, if we gotta put the siding on it or paint it or whatever.
Yeah, I just see this as a nice.
Yeah, it's a nice fit, we'll have a finished look.
I think we can just take that materiality of what's on from the from the second band up, that becomes the top of the cooler. We take that element, wrap it right around. People will think it's part of the restaurant or something.
Right.
Cooler stuff to the side of a building.
Yeah, because the ugly side of the cooler is actually going against the bill.
Yeah.
Where the equipment for the cooler, is it on top,
It's all self-contained.
inside?
Yeah, I think it's probably some part of the unit is on top. But it kind of lines up with the chimney for the answer system.
Wonder kind of how big it is, where it's gonna sit, you know, it's, I mean, I'm starting to screen it, but.
As far as the top goes.
Yeah,
I do
just
have
let me know.
pictures on my phone of it. See what that's like.
You put them on here?
Yeah, about around.
What time do you have them?
Yeah, right.
Let's see, the length of our agenda, not much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, again, this is a concept, so.
Industrial.
Yeah.
Industrial zone.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it is set way back from the street.
the street. Is this one building on the larger lot with the other buildings without leaving?
Yeah.
So it's. You're not changing parking? I thought I heard you say you're moving some around.
They're taking that parking field, sliding it down.
Sliding it down to
Put a,
room on the site is quiet. Allow a little sidewalk over that, so I'm gonna come down west of the parking space.
Yeah, so I think people like concept have right now, we're trying. Blend the cooler, building, you know, utilize the materials that are there.
Yeah, I can show, I mean, that's what the cooler looks like right now. I don't really.
Right. Yeah, so those are the units.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, so I think to his point exactly, it's skinning the box, it's carrying that material.
I wanna
Part of the
be-
building.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
building's a good looking building.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Good looking building. I put a lot of money in it right
Yeah,
now.
I don't wanna-
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Right, so then,
And this is the expanded parking area. It just slides.
But it does not impact. About the drive aisle, it's not impacted per our standards.
The survey I used to develop this showed 2019 after adjustment. We just got an updated survey. I have to check it. If there is a problem with 24 feet, there's a curved island here that we can take it from, so. If you've got anything, let's start.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Live away.
Thank you.
Good evening, Steve Ramos with Bell Associates, here on behalf of West 77 Partners, with a proposed Liveaway Hotel for a site off of Thompson Road, Imperial Circle, north side of Imperial Circle. 6595, I believe the address is. First, right? It's behind Zen's and Dave's Zen Hotel. For a little bit of history, I know most of the board may be aware, but there was a that was approved on the site back 10 years ago. It was never realized. And they're back, somebody else is back with a very similar use of the property right now. This is a 4-story, 126-room hotel. It is an extended stay hotel because there's there's no restaurant or kitchen, there's no pool. Most of the rooms will probably have a kitchenette and microwave. And Liveaway is a new brand. The West 77 partners are actually developing the spring. Here,
So nice flags.
We've had a few meetings with the board. We came in a while back and the project kind of got held up a little bit for a little while because there was some technical issues on the property. That's all been resolved. And we're back, and I think a lot of the comments of the board had raised initially have been resolved. We initially keep this. That's all been changed. And on these elevations and renderings, you can see the different color palette and look. And this is actually all the materials for reference. And this is just a section through the building. Again, it's a central corridor. This is the front entryway, and you can see right here, center of the building. And again, this is front corner view of the building. So, go back. So these are the drawings, the site plan drawings. We were before some members of the board Tuesday, work session meeting, workshop meeting. And one of the changes that occurred as a result of that meeting, we did add a sidewalk connection from the hotel right here, crosses over and goes all the way out to Thompson Road. It's the same layout that was originally approved and proposed from the previous hotel site. One of the other changes that necessitated is there's the existing road has gutters on each side. We removed the gutters up to this crosswalk because again we have handicap ramp dumping into the gutter that people would have to cross. So we removed that. That's going to be flush with the surface, and then we are going to just continue to curve all the way out into the site from it. So it'll be curved to these catch basins all the way back into the site, and then the remaining existing gutters along the existing street. Beyond that, we do have a dump truck enclosure in the back corner here. This is 298 over here. There's no access to 298. The only access point is again Thompson Road. This is an existing road that serves the Days Inn and Denny's. That is part of this property, and there is existing access that provides access to those two properties across that. Stormwater's been addressed. I believe we have infiltration facility here. There is an overflow which discharges out to the ditch. That is contained in existing drainage pad is on site. From the end of the existing road down close. You can see the grading plan. So center parking and 1.6 rooms. We have 1.6 parking center.
Sorry. Great difference.
I believe the bottom of the basin is. I believe the bottom of the basin is 409. And the finished floor is 416.85. As much. And again, this elevation is driven by two things. Building elevation is driven by two things. One, the sanitary sewer, which was near the entrance to the site, which we had to bring up into the property. So we've got about 2.5 feet cover and the sewer and the building.
I'm just wondering from the parking surface right there to the bottom of the basin.
6 feet. So we've got 415 contour that generally wraps the building. 409 here, this top of the bank is 412.
It's the bottom.
And the bottom of this sediment basin is also for.
5.5 feet to the curb on the top.
Right, so I'm just. I mean, the,
So we have maintained all grades at 4 on 1 or flat.
well, the slope is 1 and 2, you know, do we have any requirement?
For protection.
Protection. You know, I mean, a car cutting the corner or. Moving the curb?
It's all curb.
It is all curb.
Yes.
Protection of.
Sidewalks on the other side. Parking's on their sides. Always have to go towards.
Is the water always in it, or is it infiltration with no water?
It's infiltration. The only time there'll be water in there is during a storm, and it'll perk out. And it's intended to be dry most of the time.
Steve said he just added that yesterday.
We did have sidewalks all around the building, and we connected it up to Thompson Road now.
And you own the road all the way out to Thompson?
The road up to Thompson is part of the property, but there's an access easement over
Well, the
there.
other guys-
Entire road, yes. Yes.
So where does the sidewalk tie back into the building? Into the property, in the campus?
I don't believe there's any sidewalks out here now. We just come out to Thompson Road and it stops right here at Thompson Road, again, similar to what it did before.
But when it's on the south side, right?
Correct.
I think the nearest sidewalk is over here in front of
When
the
does it-
speedway.
Went along the south side of the road,
South side,
until it
hooks
just,
out.
and then it goes north, goes along the north side of the drive and then back down.
And
Okay.
Speedway and Denny's has theirs that tie in and tie out again also. It's too bad it's not. Their connection, they don't have restaurants, it's their connection.
And you're grading. Grading that weed.
All our grades are 4 on 1.
Questions?
Thank you for adding sidewalk connection. Is it a sidewalk with a median, or is it a quote snow shelf type design? Verify. Can you maybe zoom in on it? Answer.
So there. Or back edge of gutter and the sidewalk.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Want to see.
We also did, again, provide 4-metric plan that just add up.
What's the date on those drawings?
Today's date, these were actually revised today to incorporate the sidewalk.
Yeah.
These have been provided.
Not as of yet, I do have a driveway to certainly move with the town. This is the only thing that's changed in everything that's.
Whether engineering review of that sidewalk, do we want to get that?
It probably wouldn't hurt to have that condition, for what it sounds like. It doesn't make it nice.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's like,
It was made as flat, there's no slope, side slope, like slope issues that I can think of right now, so.
yeah, I think, our expectation was we would get condition approval, and we wanted to make sure everything functioned out. Everything. So, we want to make sure we incorporate. Piece.
And I think what we spoke Tuesday is a zero discharge, so I don't.
Correct.
Just want to double check that, so it's an infiltration piece. That's consistent with what we were doing about Jones, so it's sort of the same.
They were the ones who said there was zero.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, I mean, the only time you're gonna replace anything is if something block, you know, but. Yeah, it's model. So.
Other questions?
Last thing, I think, Aaron Converse from West Suffolk Settlement is logged in online, so if there are any questions for him, they're, available as well. I apologize for coming up.
I think you've seen this. questions? Good, all right. I read the motion to approve the plans dated October 22nd, or 26th. It is 26th, October 26th, 2023. This site plan is utilized the regularly shaped lot appropriately for the area, work with the board to meet architectural elements appropriate for this area. For two, board has reviewed the Onondaga County Planning Board referral June 28th, 2023, and adopts the modifications set forth in the referral as follows. A, the applicant is required to coordinate Thompson Road access plans with the Onondaga County Department of Transportation. To further meet the department requirements, the applicant must submit a copy of the stormwater pollution prevention plan, SWIP, traffic study, and lighting plan to the department for review. Any mitigation as may be determined by the department must be completed as a condition of this approval. B, a copy of the SWIP or drainage and grading plan must be provided by the New York State Department of Transportation, New York State Thruway Authority for review. No increase in the amount of site drainage entering onto New York State Route 298 or the thruway, and as a result of this construction will be permitted. Number three, subject to final engineering sidewalk addition added to the plan today at request of the board. And number four, this approval is made for the condition. This approval is for plans and other submitted documents, site plan documents that have been signed by the planning board chairperson and the applicant, and requires that all of the work shown be completed by the applicant for certificate of occupancy or compliance to be issued. Any proposed changes, additions, or deletions in scope of work or materials from the site plan documents are not approved and are subject to further site plan review pursuant to the town code section 192. Motion. David. Kevin. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Once we get all that reviewed.
Done. That's number.
Thing.
Move
to the bottom.
Yeah, third page, it's a long agenda.
Right.
Whoops. Good evening, I'm Josh Warbeck. I'm an attorney at Blue Stein. I represent Jonathan Manson and his company Lovepack Exotics. We're here, second meeting on proposed dispensary at 6606 Kinney Road. It's just around the corner from where we are today. I have the entire presentation from last week, but we need to review each and every page. The board asked us to come back with some more information on parking, some of our own analysis, just a kind of a more in-depth look at the operation. Like we submitted a detailed explanation of the parking. So this is the site. We made just really 3 points in the letter. The first point is that there's a lot of excitement about this type of development right now. There's a lot of questions of what it's going to be like. And it's new. We don't think it's going to be like that forever. There might be some initial fanfare for the project, but it's not going to be the type of operation that's going to be overflowing with people all the time. It's just going to be a normal retail operation. And the way we ensure that is that it's strictly off-site use. There's nobody hanging out at this space. There's no space for educational programs. There's no space for meetings. There's certainly no space to do any private purchase. You buy, you leave. So the other thing is that it will support deliveries. A lot of people just request deliveries from this site. And lastly, a lot of people will pre-order, show up, get in and get out. Second, it's small. This is not a huge site that's going to have a lot of tourism interest. It's going to be one of many dispensaries. There's another one application today. So it's going to be just really a normal retail use. The second major point we made in the letter is that for this type of retail use, we meet the parking requirements. There's 24 spaces. Depending on how you measure our space, we need either 11 or 23. So we got 1 or 11 more spaces that are needed. And then lastly, we did speak to, at the request of the board, a lot of other dispensaries that are already operating in the state. 9 upstate, 1 on Long Island. We have more parking than all but one. One site has a little bit more parking with 20 Wi-Fi spots. And in our conversations with those different operators, they say the parking's more than adequate. What they do is they ensure that their customers move through the space promptly. There's not a lot of hanging out. People will typically know what they're looking for, they get in and then leave. That's the same sort of operation we're gonna operate here too. And then there was one last point is that this is nothing like a medical marijuana dispensary. There was some questions on MedMen, which was a proposal several years ago at the time to win. Those medical marijuana establishments require detailed consultations. You might spend an hour meeting with a consultant or a physician before the particular product is recommended. And they often have one retail representative per customer. We have kind of the opposite. One security guard checks IDs. If you get through, you're inside. There's a couple of retail representatives behind the counters. So with that, I can answer any questions.
What type of deliveries do you get?
It'd be order for a cannabis delivery. So we could have a driver employee that would be available to take.
Like a box truck? Or
No,
something?
deliveries to the
To
facility.
you, not out.
Oh, deliveries to the facility, small box truck. This is very small product size.
So you said you said there could be deliveries from the establishment to customers?
It could be, yeah. So
Something like DoorDash kind of thing?
Exactly like, it's exactly like DoorDash. It might actually be DoorDash someday.
What is that? Is that allowed on the state law?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, we'll be bound by all those rules for sure. I mean, it's can't, OCM will be overseeing this project as well. The state has approved this very location. We've already gone through that project and jumped through those hoops.
Well, it's taken approved, but if it doesn't.
If it doesn't meet this, you guys though, you overrule them.
So this is, we're gonna be making a recommendation to the ZBA.
That's right.
Tonight. Are there any other questions? From us here?
Hours are out there.
It's 9 to 9.
Except Sundays.
Sundays is meeting.
Okay. There are no other questions. I think I'm gonna defer to Doug. There you go.
So the recommendation to the ZBA on this specific use permit would read as follows. The town and this board does not have any experience with this type of retailer, which allows a new quote use under New York law. Accordingly, this board suggests and recommends that a specific use permit required under this town cannabis law be given the opportunity appropriate scrutiny of all specific use criteria at the ZBA level. With respect to parking on the site, the parking criteria that appears to apply in the zoning code is that of retail. In that regard, the parking as shown in this plan meets the retail criteria. The applicant has presented some information indicating that the parking set forth on the plan and as required by the code will be sufficient for the cannabis retail use. However, this board has also heard from prior applicants in the cannabis arena that cannabis retail may cause greater parking requirements than typical retail use due to the time that may be spent on the premises by customers. While this application appears to meet general site plan criteria, this is a recently renovated building. For office purposes, this board recommends that the ZBA consider granting the specific use permit for a limited period of time, for example, 18 months. This would assure that the site accommodates this use. This would necessitate that the applicant would need to appear for renewal of the specific use permit to assure that the operations of the business do not intrude upon the area due to insufficient parking. This may be gleaned from department observation and or complaints. Although there is excess parking in the area due to the vacant shopping town parcel, this will certainly not be the case in the long term, and the integrity of the adjacent sites must be protected. Upon action of specific use permit, this applicant must return to this board for final site plan. That's our.
That's a motion.
Okay.
The only thing I would want to change is, for example, 18 is to be going to determine and make that recommendation. Okay. 18 months seems appropriate, and I think that goes to your point that there may be some initial fanfare and that it may settle down, and in 18 months we can reassess. if it actually is operating the way that it.
It sounds fair, I would want to consult the client and our other consultants before we agree to it, but that does sound like an appropriate.
You
Well,
want us to
the
hold
Z-
off on this
Well, the
recommendation.
CBA will take it up, I mean, we can recommend it and then we'll have to make it.
That's right, I'll be prepared to, I'll be prepared to, for your, out of your.
Okay, so
That's
that's
okay.
You wanna say, for example, a specific,
I would prefer to say specifically give CBA. So with that. Right. Right. So with that.
the CBA is the only body that can give a time frame. We cannot do that, it will
Yeah,
come
once
back.
it comes back, it's set.
Right.
We just want them to check it.
Active or stars.
Yeah.
So with that modification, go ahead. Seconds, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you. Be back.
Thank you very much.
5,800 Partners LLC.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sometimes I've been engineer, you know that.
Going, Christian Freeman, Capital Freeman Associates, representing 6,800 partners. We've got Andy Day, Tom Kerr in the audience there, and I'm here with architect Steve Knight. Thank you for your time in the work session. I think we made a lot of progress. I will just put this up, breeze through it quick. Just to clarify the agenda, it said 16 residential units. We had changed that prior to the work session, so I'm assuming that's just a holdover. But the second floor is 14 residential units. The ground floor is retail. It's 22. It's a 20,000 square foot building, 6 businesses, and I will just go through the comments very quickly. The first is we eliminated a row of existing parking here, just to kind of green it up and give it a little bit of a more attractive face from the road. It's a busy area. There's a lot of pavement there. We heard your concerns there and we took those spaces out. Another thing we did is to the south, there's a bit of an unofficial dog walker's way. We officially gestured it in by adding a sidewalk, a crosswalk, and a crosswalk. So that you could, in theory, live here on the top floor. You know, you're in one of those 14 units, come down and walk your dog on this unofficial loop, and then come back very nicely, neatly, and safely. So that's one thing we did. And then perhaps most importantly, and this is when I'm going to hand it off to Steve quickly, the front of our building, we are now gesturing more towards the street as per the NEP requirements, which have a more friendly and pedestrian scale style design. So what we had was that main access point. We've added 2 doors, one here and one here. And I would like to see if it shows. To give it, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. And to give it a little bit of even more of a pedestrian scale presence. These curly tannish lines are seat walls. The seat wall is 1 foot 6 inch wall height. So you can sit on it, hang out, and we'll have seating areas in there. There'll be floor drain, so it's gonna be pretty flat. It'll drain out nicely. It's gonna be very well. So we heard your comments in the work session, and that's what we came up with from the site perspective. And these are these 2 doors, one here and one here. And that's my time, I think, to turn it over to Steve to quickly go through architecture. If you'd like, I could pull up the elevation.
Yeah, I think you should.
All right, tell me what's going on.
Should we just do the bottom side? Okay.
I have 2 of this one. See,
Oh, okay.
is it the other one or this one?
Start with that one. That's fine.
Great.
Okay, so,
This is the north elevation that faces East Genesee Street, Wegmans Plaza is across the street. This is the existing elevation. This is what we're proposing. The wood slats would go away. We refenestrate the building. This would be metal plank here. In this scheme, we have two schemes and the team is split. One is a dark band at the top, the other is a light band. It's kind of driven by the signage. Currently, the signage is dark, so it wouldn't read well on this dark band. Does the signage go white? So we have two schemes like this. The center element, we have metal panels. We've obviously refenestrated the building. The brick would stay the brick color that it is. We really haven't had discussions about that. And then Christian pointed out the three entries, the center entry, which is existing, that we've modified it obviously, and then the two others. Should we go to the? Go ahead.
My question with this right now, you've got
And there's a canopy here.
the storefront and not the main entry, but the two adjacent entries there are how wide? They're
How
9 foot
wide?
maybe,
That's a good question. They are, 9 foot.
9 foot four. So when you go back to your site plan,
Yeah, we got it.
they're as wide as the door.
Yes. We can widen this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, right.
Good.
And then
You're just testing.
Yeah. absolutely.
there was a question brought up by the board at one point, an observation about the utility, the meters and stuff that are on that northeast corner.
Oh, yes, correct. So we looked at some tree species and we tried to line it up. So this door, this part of the wall here may have to creep closer to the door for us to screen that, but we were gonna propose a few evergreens that would be maybe 6 to 8 feet in height. And we believe we'll have enough room to do that. And I tried to pull this bed out wide enough. These are kind of showing large, but I think we can get a species in there that will adequately screen it. It'll be about taller than an adult man.
Can you show on the elevation
Yeah, let's
where
see that,
those,
yeah.
where those will fall?
Sure. Yeah, so we're gonna be in here.
Just the utilities themselves, like, do they fall on the wide brick just to the left of that door, in that bay right there?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. I think it is closer to this door, which is why I think that, what I was saying, that
That
wall
might have to creep it a
would be,
little bit.
that one may not.
You can notch that one in, you know,
Yeah,
handle that. I just love the idea of the green room against the building, break this thing down, have it kind of float above them.
it won't say
Yeah. Yeah, just depict that on.
Yeah, we'll check that and we'll get that in the elevation for you.
Yeah, please.
Mhm.
I mean, I appreciate the efforts and the response to our comments at this point. Are there other questions, comments?
So the coffee shop's gone? That was gonna be the point, right? It's
There's I don't know what the retailer is on the first floor. It'd be on the first floor.
It's a developer question, but it's TBD. I mean, we're working with, leases and things like that, so.
Yeah.
So.
The idea would be to put a 600 square foot, bay behind that. East entry.
Right here, right?
In the ground or something like that.
But I understand you today, you're still gonna have signage and date across the top of the building.
My understanding, there's actually obligated. There's a signage to remain, there's 4 existing that are there and they'll have to stay. Yeah, obviously I'll see how it is.
Yeah. But they'll all match everything.
Yeah.
Christian, back to this, go back to the elevation, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that gonna flush out with the blacktop, or is that walking down into it? Is that what-
That might be a
Yeah, so let me-
question you're talking here.
Yeah, let me jump into this, and that's a great question.
That's all here, I'm trying to.
Cause it's a little weird, so this store is low as it is currently.
Yeah.
So if you imagine the plane of this as it is now, this whole thing here will be at that elevation, yes, and then from here to there, it's gonna pitch, no ramp, but like 4%. Yes, and then stairs here, and then here is our one section of handicap parking.
Yeah, but once you stop, I'll play off you for a second. So we come out the door, we go flush, I'm gonna walk straight towards the crosswalk, and then the stairs up,
to the grade, to the,
Yes.
that elevation, so that greenery is in it, that greenery on that side of the walkway is elevated again.
Correct.
So is there, the seat walls are the only retaining wall in there?
Yeah, and sort of what they're doing here too is they're acting as a insulator to a piece of the foundation of the building that wasn't supposed to be exposed. Which is kind of half the reason why I was really coming at height, but we'll work through that.
Actually, I do like that, I like how it's set up, pedestrian, purely pedestrian zone to the parking. And that's, it's not just a.
So is there any traffic on both sides then? or no?
Yeah, so due to the tenants, which I'm not at liberty to mention, we have 3 spaces here. And then we have, and there should be a crosswalk here, but this is how they keep it over here.
But then they're gonna come down the stairs.
No, there's gotta be a crosswalk over here to come in over here.
Yeah.
And then on this side over here, you come in here.
Or do you put them on the, you put them down on the left-hand end over there and you slide in the whole walkway, grade drops off to there.
Right here.
Yeah, that makes sense to put them there.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We'll play with that thought. See what Andy thinks. And then I think the idea is that several of the tenants will need handicap access, and we have a square shaped building, so it's not exactly an efficiency to, we put them all in one place. So we have some here and some there. But I think that's a great comment about moving this there. That makes sense.
Plus they don't have to cross it.
Right, and I've already eliminated that curve to save my drop. The grading on this was yeah. And this door over here, we end up lowering just so that it matches, this whole plane here is now low. And we did that just as a functionality, so the stairs here are a little funky because this is a ramp down, but it was that, or you have a door that's way up and I lose all this space. And I can't have that as a low point.
You go back to the elevation. So
Where's the entry to the residential?
That's the side mount, real quick. So this part here is all gonna be the residential entry. And these doors, this main area here is where they're gonna come. So you can park here if you're handicapped, you got a flush curb, you come down. This is essentially a ramp, but not officially a ramp. And then you come in, otherwise you park. Get on the sidewalk and then you go down the stairs here.
For residential, so is that, so how are you organizing parking for commercial retail versus residential on this site? In other words, are you designating areas for the residents?
We're gonna designate for the residents, I believe, and we'll probably spot out over here, but I think for the businesses, first come, first served, and then.
Which is primarily on Genesee Street side, that's their front.
Correct.
So when you lower their property, will even parking for the.
No, this green space here represents like a slope. And then this is a wall. So if you imagine it's about this distance from here to here. So this is where your curb and your drive aisle is, and then I'm down in the plaza sitting on a chair or whatever.
Let me go back to the elevation.
Yeah,
Sorry about that. Right now, it's with this project and this review. There's a comment made about the signage that's there. That signage is no longer applicable in here. 4 signs are allowed. Here, so you would have to go back to ZBA. Signs. Right.
It's a change of zone, then
Reset the.
reset everything.
Is that what that's representing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark, so it's yours right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
It's an entirely new site plan.
Right.
Site plan.
We got a zone.
So signage bans are not applicable. We don't allow more signs facing the street.
Go from single sign, violent sign.
Yeah, it's like, I think I like to do that, there's not really a good spot on because of how our parking is versus building, we don't have a residential zone versus a retail zone. There's not like a lovely spot that says this is where the sign is, so I can know where I'm going and the business is here, what we'll discuss.
Yep, I just want to make you aware of that.
Some of the possibility or there's a path.
everybody else is.
It would be, you'd have to go to ZBA with a recommendation from this board. I think you'd have to make a very good argument to this board as to why 4 signs would be on the face of that building. I'm confident that.
If they're in the leases, isn't something that's gonna work, so we probably have to draft the whole thing. We approve the sign. Yeah.
So, I'll look at that. Take a look at that, you can work with the office.
Maybe one sign with the 4 tenants on it, if it's site criteria, or go after a size variance versus 4 separate signs with a bunch of
Right.
avenues to attack this thing, I think.
Signage on the
building
or
monumental?
Or monument, you know,
It's square footage
you get a,
basis,
you get a
right?
monument
Right,
also,
where-
you get both.
Yeah.
And then I think this, well, I'll speak out loud without, we haven't had this conversation yet, is the issue of what it was before of a van with signs,
Right.
drive by reading signs. Versus a sign that might center, in a nice centering element now that you got, Steve. And then the signage all develops that says, hey, everyone's going to the center point, and then there's a sign that is denotable for the tendencies within it.
I mean, I would be in favor of not even mounting them on the band,
Yeah.
roof line band.
Right.
But down
Lowering
halfway
them near where the tenant is.
on
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways to
on your
think about this.
plan that we have, there's a
Yeah.
banding kind of running in the center, but it shows up more on the drawing that we have. Like this.
So,
Acting on the center.
Where are the,
And the center,
Yeah.
center element there.
Oh, you're talking about this thing.
And that too.
Yeah. Then it's more like people height, you know,
Right.
you're bringing it into the people that are walking around that building.
And it gets away from what it was
Yeah, the
before.
parking.
It's not a big.
I'm with you, that's like, if it's a long rectangular building and the architect's gonna pick up this almost immediately, that works great. But since we have this square, we have. Within the building, you have back tenants, right? So doing it in a line isn't maybe as neat as like, to someone walking by.
I would sketch out a couple
Yeah.
of trees.
Yeah.
Something's gonna hang on us here.
It's a tough challenge.
But you're
Not
right,
an easy-
you drive by so fast you can't see the signs anyway.
Right.
A monument sign would be readable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot
I'd
of-
actually love to see like a
that's
monument blade out there that I'm driving down the
Yeah.
road.
Or the
There's something
giant
out there, it's that nice dry scale size that goes Tennessee in a monument sign, and I go, oh yeah, that's where I'm going. You know, and then you come in and you find yourself in
Yeah.
wayfinding.
Maybe like the one in, was that Fayetteville? We got the one that sticks out by the Target. The one by the-
I can't picture that one.
oh, yeah.
Are you taking down any substantial trees? It looks like you're removing a lot of trees.
Yeah, we are, and honestly, they're at the end of their lives, they're not in good shape. And we're also taking out, the mohawk of the berm between, you go to Wegmans, you look across the street, there's currently a berm, and then scraggly evergreens.
Yeah.
Taking that out, it looks not good, so. But there's plenty of green in my corner. Yeah, I mean, look at that, versus green.
Bursting.
Oh, we are located bike racks on, there's another thing you
I was
called
gonna
it,
say, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bike rack at-
right in there,
on the residential side.
you're not going down the stairs twice.
Are there any other comments? We'll be making a recommendation to the town board for implementation of the MEP today. We good?
Really, the overlay applies here primarily for the mixed use. But the other benefits are more incidental. That we're achieving as part of this project, but have all of the requirements been met? Are they achievable?
I think they are achievable. Yes.
Yeah, which we're not approving this tonight, which is just
Correct. We're only making the recommendation that MEP be implemented for this site. And so like the modifications that they've made, they want to conform and so substantially prove that it can be a viable zone.
There's a lot more.
Right.
still up.
Right.
Given the forward area ratios. I'm just asking.
I did set up.
We're working on If there, maybe
You mean that in regard to use or?
for new development, like the Florida area.
Actually, we haven't contemplated this for an existing building, right? So we're just making this.
This one's very good. Yeah, there's conversation there. That's where that.
Right.
I'm gonna read the recommendation. This is a recommendation, with planning board to the town board regarding proposed Gen C mixed use project. Tax map number address 5.03-010. To amend the official zoning map, the town of DeWitt pursuant to 192-64 or mixed use village floating overlay district. This board has reviewed the concept application of this project, which would be a project intending to utilize the provisions of section 192-64 of the town code, mixed use floating overlay district. The board finds the property. So this board finds the property and concept of this project as being appropriate for the application of the district. The applicant has demonstrated a willingness to establish a project that would conform to the intent of the mixed use overlay code, integrate commercial and residential uses through architecture, site plan amenities, pedestrian friendly areas. This recommendation is made with specific understanding of this board that prior variances as it relates to signage will no longer apply. That this is a new use, new project, a new zoning district, specifically signage related to the architecture and pedestrian friendly project per MUB is desired. Accordingly, pursuant to an application having been made at the request of the applicant and in accordance with the applicant code provisions, this board recommends that the town board amend the zoning map pursuant to 192-121 code as to the parcel which is the subject of this application, modify the zoning mixed use village overlay floating district MUB-2. This recommendation is made in the understanding and condition that this project will be referred back to the planning board for full site plan review. Evelyn, I will second. All in favor? We look forward to having you back. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Woodchuck Hill.
Right here, we wanna. You know, the site plans and. Scott Freeman. Capital Agreement Associates here for a project update on Woodchuck Hill Road. Gone through all the comments, I don't know if it's necessary to go through them line by line, but I thought I'd go through the drawings. Gonna help me out here. Talk about some recent modifications and changes. By the way, developer Dan King is with me here as well tonight. A couple weeks ago, we met with a developer and we not only were we looking at this in plan, but he had the builder out on the site, look at the site and say, hey, what can we do to make it better? So we're, the thing I like about working with Dan, he doesn't accept what we draw. He pushes us. He's like, what can we do to make this better? And Dan took a walk around and he said, why, you know, there's opportunity, there's nice things that you might be overlooking. One thing that the builders pointed out, there's a nice stone wall on the side and a vegetation strip. So as tight as the site is, we are going to retain some of the boulder walls on the side to keep, you know, nice character for the houses coming in. And we're going to keep, we put back another 20-foot strip of vegetation along the sides. And some of it is higher level vegetation, but there's a lot of nice trees in there. So I thought that was a good pickup. Just to recap,
initially, we're gonna save this house, but it's so far out of compliance, we decided to take it out for the board's recommendation, that thing, how we're intending is like. Go to the town, do everything by the book, let's not ask for any variances, so let's get as many realistic houses as you can buildable. Was it a year, 18 months ago, we started this project, we started off with 10 lots, we're down to 8. And that's because they're 8, what we feel are very buildable lots, we dropped to 1 because of the detention basin. And that house over here, the other one was for soils. Just so you know, not only did we go out there once with our engineer, we went back the second time with Jeff Till from the health department, because we asked him, said, hey, is this the right place for septic fields? And we did a detailed investigation before we knew where the lots were, and then the second time we had honed in where our lots were, and we've identified these areas with orange construction fence, so all these areas were tested twice, these areas, so I think that Dan thought was important. Let's get the septic fields in the front as much as we could, so we have room for the the backyard for people to do what they want to do with those lots and the properties. What we found on the lower part of the site, very well draining soil, conventional systems, those are a little smaller. One thing that should be noted, this is the front yard septic field. Half of that is the septic field, half of that is in reserve. So that's right in the front yard. And then there's an alternative on the septic plans, there's an alternative septic field location if these areas don't work out. So a lot of builders, you'll get a lot, you'll buy a lot, you'll go out there. The septic field won't be marked, they'll dig big holes in the front and then it's gone. You don't have it. So one of the things we're gonna do prior to construction, we're gonna, these are gonna be surveyed, they already were surveyed, that's the other thing. We didn't just go out in the field and just drop, spray paint on the ground. We had, Dan went the extra mile, we have surveyors locate where our test locations are. These are sacred, this is how we get our density, so that's been done. Recently, we did get feedback from the health department. And the health department and our engineer actually went back and forth a little bit. The health department said, you know what, this is a dense site, you're doing a lot here. And he had a question where Rudy goes, how many lots did you design this for? How many bedrooms? And it's designed for 5. So we didn't go, we're not trying to come in here with small septic fields. We're going with 4. We're going with 5 actually, because what happens with 4 is someone gets an office and then boomerang kid comes home, thankfully he lives by himself. But you gotta plan for that extra bedroom, so we didn't skimp on that, so.
If you add an office later on, it counts as a bedroom, so it's not.
So so we had that, and then Jeff Till did compliment Rudy's on going out there twice, doing two sets of inspections. They went back and forth, they sparred a little bit. I don't know if you could find the drawings. We had the health department, where we landed was, if I could find that note. It's the first plan.
I'll go back to see details. Yeah, it's gonna be up here probably.
Yeah, just back up. Health department landed on, we want you to succeed. We realize you went in with a tight, dense plan as a compromise. We have a requirement before construction, each lot will have a foundation plan reviewed by a landscape architect or civil engineer to update each lot and review it with the town and the health department. So I think that's a good compromise. As opposed to saying it's
Well,
too.
I'm thinking of it because we put that on the plan on specifically, right? So I haven't seen that.
Yes, that's the help.
Okay.
I'll read it. Each lot owner must submit a plot plan to the health department showing the specific location and number of bedrooms of the house to be constructed and its relationship to components of the sewage disposal system. Any changes from the field subdivision must be approved by the designer. We like this because we don't.
I think you want that on the subdivision map.
On the map.
Oh, I got what you said.
Not
Yeah, but I can just tell you, this is the reality of a design firm. We get these approved, people walk away, they change lot lines, they do their own thing, they call us up and say,
That's why it's.
the design soil doesn't work. Like, well, number 1, you don't even have it in the right place on the plan. Number 2, the house is on top of where the septic field was. So we love this. And I think this is gonna be a good one.
So I think that the example is septic, that's not usually on a subdivision, but I think it does.
No, I agree. It's good recommendation.
So you've done such you've done such a good job laying it out already, so how is it that that stays a septic field and that stays a restricted area? What makes it so they don't put a basketball court there?
You market, right? I mean, you market the field. You market in the field. I mean, there's a lot of subdivisions in Radisson and North 31 people who have septic fields. I had a client move into a house in Timber Ridge in Baldwinsville. He said, my septic system failed. They said, was there a pool when he moved in? He said, no. I go, when they put the pool in, he goes, last summer. I go, that's what happened. They went up the driveway, they drove in the flat spot, they crushed the lawn. He's trying to buy the house. And he had trouble with the sand. I go, that's what happened. So it's really on the homeowner to protect their own septic. But are you talking about during construction or once they move into living?
Once they sell it twice.
Yeah,
How, yeah, I
That's-
guess that's what I'm.
It's on the plan, but it's your responsibility to protect it, but this particular homeowner drove over it, you know, to your point. It's.
Jamie does an easement like that.
Well, I don't think the town wants to take it.
Yeah.
But I
Why wouldn't
do
you
go back
think
to it? It's
it
like-
needs to be a restriction.
It should somehow end up on the survey, yeah, so it's showing that the survey is.
Each one of those is so long. So
Yeah, but to put it in perspective, they're all individual lots and they're all in the front lawn, so it won't be a swimming pool situation.
No, but each one of those, once they get sold out, each one of those surveys should have that note
Yes.
on that drawing.
Yes,
Each lot.
Each
Yeah.
individual
Yes.
lot.
yeah, and that's how we found it in that house in Timber Banks. I said, yeah, it was just an idea.
Right.
And we're like, we looked at the blame, we told the owner, said, that's where they park the trucks.
I know that it's been a very long time since we've done the residential subdivision, but just because of like this, because of land, but when Boulder Heights was done, there was specific restrictive covenants. We used to, the back part can't be.
Yeah, if you're going up the drum line, there was a line right on the map that says you cannot do anything above this line.
And it actually did run to the benefit of the town, if the town feels like. I mean, of course, but I think there was a time, especially because the ground was so sensitive.
Yes.
It's not level yet. So I would suggest that.
Good, we'll talk to her, if we can get to the final plat plan where, I call this, you know, the stormwater basin, that's 95% done, you can address most of it. This is infiltration, 1-on-4 slopes, you know, so it's good to have in the neighborhood, you don't have to worry about wet pond standing water, that's good. We do have some drainage easements around the perimeter to get the water, you know, you need a drainage easement, you're running water across one property or another, so you do have some water running around the outside this way. A late add was typically Boulder Heights was kind of my prototype. You have half-acre lots, you have water going to the front, hits the gutter and it's gone. But when you have a bigger lot and you have water going between the properties, it's much more significant. So that was an engineering comment I thought was very good. So we added a culvert from here to here and a culvert from here to here, because you're pulling water from the side yards all the way to the front, because you're not gonna push it uphill, it's gotta come downhill. So we put these 3 driveways, there's 3 culverts, and then an outflow pipe here. And it goes into the basin for treatment, and then discharges, and goes down to Chuck Road. So that was another late add. Is there anything else we added recently, Dan? I think those are, the monument sign, the entry sign, pool sign, hopefully that could be part of the process, and an image you picked up, you can, flat through it.
What's the average lot size?
They vary, but I mean, Dan, you should know this better than I.
I do, the average lot size is 1.265 acres. Sure.
That's average, now what's the biggest one?
So the largest one is 2.05, the smallest is 0.7.
What's the timing of the project exactly? Close?
As soon as I find a competent site contractor who can put a road in, I'm ready to go.
February 1.
What infrastructure, Scott, what infrastructure would be built following the subdivision, approval, but before the lots are sold off?
Water's the big one, because we have septic, so water we've been,
The drive and then the water collection around the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac at the
Yeah.
end, all together, so. the better-
oh, yeah,
it's there.
yeah, I thought you meant utilities in general, but yeah, typical construction, build the detention facility first,
Yeah.
get your first house going, and then work, not your first house, your first lot going, and layer this joking home out here. Do all your earthwork first, stabilize the site, control the outflow point, I'm doing joke,
Yep.
and then lay your stone. And then
So, cul-de-sac will go in.
As part of the.
yes, we're not gonna phase this. I know some developers will say, well, I'm gonna go to here and do that later. No, it's this is step one, because that's your.
Yeah.
I think it's.
How much lots can you get a busy doctor say?
Describes that as part of this, that's all.
So again, just thinking about the builder and what is gonna happen, and you may know more than me. But I think when a builder and a owner looks at that lot, they're gonna say, God, I don't wanna plow a driveway that long. Can I flip flop the house in the field?
Well, that we have the building envelope, not on this plan, but on the layout plan. That's the whole purpose of that note from the health department. Not only does it help protect the septic field, but it helps protect the integrity of the neighborhood, because a lot of times you look at a house, you buy a lot, you don't know where the next guy's house is going. And also your living room's here, and then that guy's
Yeah, somebody has to jam it way up on
jam it
the.
right over there. So here, these are the building
Scott,
envelopes.
let me jump in and answer your
Yeah,
question
sure.
directly. The short answer would be, no, they don't have that say. They have to follow the approved plan, and, that could put me in a bad position with certain prospective owners, but it is what it is.
And we drew this is the hardest.
Controlling the sale.
Did Rocky look at this?
The water and the access have been looked at.
Good, and it's.
Yes.
It's built to town standards.
It's a town
Mhm.
road.
It is, no, it's a town road.
It's a town road.
Site distance was fine in the standard.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Guys have been out and done some flow testing. Where the utilities run in relation to the road.
Go back one.
I think we got the water.
I'll zoom in so you can, let's see quick. So you get the water on the top side. There's water there.
I'm starting to see where it ties in on the road, side of the road itself.
So, yeah.
West side.
Yeah, it just jumps straight across.
Yeah, so it'll probably be boring there, but
But I mean, through the new road that you're creating, it's not like right down.
it's right on the shoulder, and then we got, I got a couple of fire hydrants in there. We got one fire hydrant somewhere, I'm losing it right now. It's. Yeah, right there at the end, typically we have. So, yeah, we work with water, we're health department, we're like 1 week away. Rudy and engineer, we're going back and forth on some minor details.
Did Rudy design it such that the septic is all gravity, there's no pump stations involved?
Yeah, we're not doing, pump station, no, so that's the beauty of the front yard, because the house is typically higher and it flows down, so that was a good thing.
Hopefully the septic fields aren't gonna be, they're not gonna be shallow buried bodies, they're gonna blend in, so you're not gonna see it pop up.
Not health department, that we have diversion, we have curtain drains, we have high points, there's no water pitching across these septic fields. Water goes around with every case. It's a general grade here, and then it climbs up. These are 2-foot contours, so this house is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This is 12 feet above the road. And all these 1, 2, 3, 4, these are 3 or 4 feet above the road.
Because the elevation, if you're gonna wanna push it back to the south.
Yeah.
Okay, no one's gonna shut those up.
But we have to finish up some doing some pipe inverts and some detail on the spot grades, of the center line of the road, but,
Okay.
I'd say we're 90%.
Yeah, I think this
barring
is
any
headed in
comments.
the right direction. I know Mark's issued comments which have not been completely responded to. I think we have. I think Mark has some new comments.
Those are, yeah, I mean, we've got.
He sent them out.
I thought he said the ones we had were from before.
Yeah,
The
these,
second letter was.
that's correct. A lot of these.
So there's newer comments that
Yeah.
have not been transmitted.
We've seen recently.
Yesterday said that. That whatever you have adjusted, the original comments, but not the most recent. So then it's sent. So that we send it.
Yeah, the most recent there, incorporate those.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's headed right, but all that stuff would need to be on. Those drawings.
Yeah, so that's, we have no other way.
I think some of the things that we talked about, that we really like to consider that restrictive covenant, should also be a written document. About. What you can't do over the septic field areas that would.
Actually, same would be true for the infiltration basin too, right?
Infiltration basin, that's right.
And who has responsibility for maintenance? I mean, is that property owner where that basin is located? Do they own
Well, that's-
the maintenance of that?
This is the age old question, it's a great area. Who maintains this? It's on the property of this homeowner. But there's an easement and there's a line that's built into the deed, but who? You know, the easement, the condition of the easement written by the surveyor is gonna say the town, I would have rights to access that. There's not gonna be an acre away from eight houses.
Right. So the town doesn't want to be responsible for that, but there needs to be easement that allows them to go in and charge the homeowner. That's the problem with having that kind of a basin on the property, right? That's the downside. You know, I've seen projects like that, but that's something, you know, have your legal come up with something and I'll make sure and also to engineering.
It's a good thing that it's, I mean, just to speak to it, it's a good thing it's.
If it was a lot, it wasn't.
There's gotta be a
mechanism. It has to be, yeah, as well as either an HOA. Town needs a mechanism to pass it on and then. Group needs a mechanism to share the cost.
Gotta make sure that everything shows on the map because.
I don't know.
Covenants. In the end, the town has no say.
There's a town-wide stormwater district. And this is a
You
matter
can
of
have a
amending the
subdivision with
district
restrictive
to
covenants.
Is this
That's
so
why
you
they're
don't, it's in stormwater district.
That's why
I don't know
it's
that-
written on
I
the
keep
map.
it going as local council right now. People are not for it. So,
No, they're talking about that.
right. Well, so
Yeah,
talking about
yes.
especially as agreements,
Can't enforce it.
Yes,
the chances are it may very well already be hit.
well, we will check that.
That's why they're gonna be on the map.
The first step, whatever we'll come up with a draft. And whatever comes out of the draft, to Jamie's point, those criteria, requirements, restrictions. You know, covenants would be on the plat plan, but ultimately that would be the drainage agreement with the town. I would imagine.
Right, so Doug, I'll throw that over to you and Mark on the drainage, the covenant situation.
It's really gotta be on the map.
It has to be on the map.
It has to be on the map.
And it has to be written. And it has to also run to the benefit of the town, if the town thinks it's important enough to enforce it at any time. But they're not required to.
No, I've been doing a lot of subdivisions
Yeah.
and I've seen people take their, the fill from their pool and push it in the basin. I filled in the hole.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the base.
I built a vegetable
They
garden,
filled in part of the hole.
or they built a vegetable garden and their neighbors built a pool, but they didn't.
Yeah, it happens.
How best we can bring up here.
I think you know where you gotta
No,
Doug will get you the updated comments,
Appreciate that.
if you don't already have them. We'll get those on there. We appreciate the update. Are there any other questions, comments, or we'll let them kind of do their thing?
I think we'd like to keep, keep it moving, keep throwing out the plan revisions. I'd like it so that next time you come, you can call for a public hearing. So it's not gonna be next meeting, but it's a lot of details now.
No, we understand, but it's rather get incremental advice than change all
David, do you
this.
feel we're not ready to call for a public hearing tonight?
No, you don't have a preliminary plan in its proper form.
The drainage is a pretty key component to get what.
Mark gets some other context, there's information that's not on the drainage and the various things we talked about tonight as well.
Okay, yeah, we'll
So-
review it.
I don't think he had any showstoppers though.
Oh.
But he had
It's
six.
detail.
Yeah,
The detail.
yeah, just detail.
Can we, at the next meeting, call for, if we get it, in 2 weeks, call for the public for the following meeting, which is when they should be back in anyway.
Well, I would be concerned about calling for the public
I mean,
hearing
no,
until the,
Just making this, we make a call.
Process.
until the application is complete, until the plan is 99% done.
Right.
Then you call for the public hearing.
Yeah, we're at 96 and a half.
That's what I mean.
No, it's
You
not
get to
there.
that point.
No, I know, we're not
Doug
doing
and Terry, and if they feel that it's at that 99,
Yeah, I know. what you're
can
saying.
we in 2 weeks make not have the public hearing, but call for it so that it shows up?
Good. If it looks like, that's only a couple of weeks. from
We'll,
now.
we'll go over the comments again, and if we think we're comfortable, we'll let you know. If we need more time, we'll also let you know. I want to be fair to you too. I don't want to push it.
Yeah, the next schedule that you do back is in 4 weeks at this point.
Oh.
So, but what I'm trying to do is not wait for 4 weeks to then call public hearing, waiting. I'd like to do like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I understand. You have the submission time.
The public hearing.
We'll let you know within a week when we'll be turning these around.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
if the
Coordinate
list.
with their office and they'll, we can figure it out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Did you guys say? One at the beginning and then one at the very end. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we got Northwood Flex Building. Okay, Greenwood.
I did. I went down to 30.
Yes, right attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will just have one.
Alright, so I need that.
Michael Sarah Kane, I also carry for just want to express our real appreciation that you here tonight, especially with such a long agenda.
Mike Woniak, architect working with Tom Greenwood. The project had previously been Greenwood Winery. There were multiple structures constructed on the property. And over time, the winery function did not work for Greenwood. So there was an attempt to repurpose the buildings, and the restaurant building has been converted into apartments. And the wine production building is attempting to be converted into a adult daycare center. How do you advance these arrows here?
Yes, right there, that one there, we're gonna pitch to.
Yeah, okay. All right. You can see again the location of everything. And what was attempted was that this essentially a large warehouse building with some toilet rooms in it, and mechanical rooms in it. We're just going to be converted into this adult daycare center with little or no conversion or modifications to the interior of the building. It's basically wide open space that people come in and they stay there during the day. And the owner, Tom Greenwood, might have need for that for one of his assets as well. So we're working toward that end, and he has a tenant who wants to operate the facility and needs a certificate of occupancy to provide to the health department in order to advance that particular use at this site. The existing buildings,
Before we get into the actual buildings and what's there, I think we want to talk about the uses on the site holistically. Right now, habitability of these. I don't think that the adult daycare
Well,
building is it?
well, a couple things. Can I ask a first question? Are there vineyards still?
There are, yes, this area here still has the vineyards here. No, the addition parking and, well, the two buildings, and you can see the proximity of the existing buildings to one.
Where are we zoned at now?
Business transitional.
The building, this site is, well, this portion of the site is business transitional, and this portion of the site is zoned industrial. So the apartment use or the two apartments that are within this building are compatible with building business transitional zone. And also the adult daycare center is also an approved use within the daycare zone according to the zoning.
I agree with that. What we're trying to, well, first of all, I guess I'm gonna just come out and say, we don't know how that ever got converted to apartments without coming to this board. It should not have happened. Apparently there was a permit issue that it should not have happened because it's a change of use from what it was, so that should not have happened, but that's. I'll just put it out there because it somewhat informs what's happening here, so. You can't have two uses on the lot, so you got, let's say you've got your apartment use. That's an allowed use. You need to look at it as a separate lot. It needs to not live with the adult daycare, which is also an allowed use, but you can't have them both in the same. So you need the subdivision. I will leave it to others, not me, to say how it would be subdivided, or I think it can be subdivided. It will probably need variances from ZBA on setbacks.
Setbacks would be an issue.
Right, but I understand their existing buildings, it's not that thing. You know, it would come with recommendations from this board. But it can't just be like whatever happened the first time, it happened again, which is just can't compound this day, right? There's a whole additional, like, how does this parking, what does it all mean that's all on this other lot? You know, how's it going to be utilized? What should it look like? It's probably gonna be an L-shaped lot. What kind of accesses can you have? Are those set in stone? You know,
Well,
subdivision standpoint.
the easiest way, if you had to subdivide, would be to subdivide out the apartment piece so that it is directly accessed from Collimer Road and utilize this as the access to the adult daycare.
Which-
Then you gotta have a conforming use lot though, right?
Well-
Frontage or no?
No, it'll have
Well, I mean,
frontage.
if
It's
they were
just,
if they were to subdivide just to the west of the apartment and then north of the apartment and cut off that corner.
You're cutting, yeah.
Provide
cutting.
I mean, you still have to talk to
piece.
the DOT, make sure that you're getting another curb cut there.
It's not, you know, and then it really ends up as.
Well, you'd have to
side
have, you'd have to
Yeah.
get variances, and I think it's, you know, the
Closer.
ZBA would look.
You're close.
How close together are they? What's the distance between the frame building and the
14 feet or something like that.
It's about 15'4" at its closest point, and it's about 31 plus or minus at its widest here.
It's really not practical to subdivide. Just be jumping through hoops, is there not any other vehicle or path forward, special permit or some,
Why is-
some example?
Why can't it be subdivided?
You don't have side yard setback variances.
The setback
You have to look at
would be,
parking and access as to how that works on the side, so otherwise you have no parking for the apartment.
Yeah, and then the time, you know, the time going through all the procedures.
Yeah.
Would be impossible.
You'd have to have cross-access agreements for parking, for driveways. It would be complicated.
I mean, listen, Mike, if you can come up with something, I will tell you that from the point of view, like this board can't approve that building on the same lot. in
can't
this
approve
format.
which building. The adult
The
building.
adult daycare.
It's probably,
If they could approve maybe another apartment building, and then it's all one, you know, apartment building situation.
that's a stupid question, because
That's-
I'm generally ignorant.
And
about
you're gonna
it.
get a stupid answer if I tonight. You go ahead.
There are untold numbers of multiple use buildings. So it seems a little bit arbitrary to say, well, I can have multiple use in a building on a property. Actually, I think the county has, you know, been advocating for multi-use properties, but I can't do it because there's 15 feet in between the two structures. It just doesn't make any logical sense to me.
I can only tell you what our code says. And we're pretty, I mean, you can see it's a busy board. We're pretty consistent, try to be, again, which is why it's disturbing that got somehow built.
I fully understand.
So
Does the zoning allow for mixed use in?
Oh, that's.
no,
Not in two separate.
I'm just playing off this comment there, I'm gonna follow that, the next extent is the
Right, I
solution for
That's
me.
kind of what I was trying.
From our perspective, where you then link the buildings with a roof connector and also you have one building, that does that then fall within the constraints of what we do? I don't think so.
Untold number of mixed use structures in the town. In fact, and with a couple of them today, with mixed use retail, mixed use retail.
One building versus multi-uses on a
Right.
site.
Right.
So if it's in a single building, that's one thing.
so you've got retail, and you know, if it's whatever would get out of the business
Enact the building.
transition.
Yeah, that's my.
Again, I understand, I'm accepting that, that's the rule, I'm just saying that it's just.
Can't
The
we connect the
rule
building or not?
doesn't make any sense.
What?
Can you make it one building or not?
I mean. If that flies, that's what I'd be doing, I'd be quickly tying a roof into the other one with a trellis element, and it's a single structure and moving forward.
If that envelope wise.
I like the trellis. Connected to the good.
A trellis. that-
Yeah, like connecting with something, you can actually make it connect to the next guy, that solves the problem.
Well, then I would just say it gets to be a certain square footage and you have to look at different exiting and different fire protection. And it being a different use than its original build and not coming back here, I don't know if it ever got looked at in a site plan for like access and fire protection and life safety and codes. I don't know who they hired to make the changes and what architects looked at it for
I did,
building code.
I did initially,
Oh, so I
and
don't,
it was all
Yeah.
approved, and it went through all the code reviews, and it was approved.
And again, apologize. Tom should know better, but I don't think he does. Honestly,
are you Tom?
No.
No, no.
I was like, wow.
You threw me under the bus. I'm here for Tom because I know how to smile.
So I think the bottom line on this is I think we'd have to find some solution that is palatable to the board that's, you know, that meets zoning. Right now, as it's proposed, it doesn't. So there's no path forward for us right now.
Someone said something about a special permit.
No, that's not.
It's not a thing. In the other developments in the town of DeWitt, like the Marshall Plaza, there are multiple buildings on that site. Are they all separate properties? They all been subdivided into?
That's a plaza.
Yeah, but it's a singular property with
It's-
multiple uses.
They're all retail and they're.
No,
and they're-
some are restaurants, so that would be an assembly use as opposed to
No.
retail.
Not under a code. Under a code, we've got the plaza. And that's what that is, and that's how that's a plaza.
And that's allowed to have those.
You're thinking the building code is separate,
Right.
not zoning code.
This daycare.
Like those two, all
daycare
come
company.
back.
Yeah, that was the hope and the expectation. Evidently, the tenant required a certificate of occupancy to provide to the health department in order to get, I understand, her license for operation.
Also, they're not licensed yet.
I don't know the specifics. I was brought into this well afterwards.
Is this operating now?
No.
That could be an issue.
The tenant.
These are all the steps of the data have been completed.
For that tenant in this location, in that building. She's gone through quite a process. Get her not knowing.
So there are apartments right now or no?
There are, in this building, there are two.
How long have they been apartments?
A year, 2 years, something like that.
And so the other two buildings are both unoccupied and not used.
Correct. No, that is not correct. I'm sorry. This was an open air pavilion that was enclosed, and now it is a storage facility basically for the maintenance of the property. There's miscellaneous construction items. That was reviewed, permitted, and a certificate of occupancy was provided for that as well.
So that's a certificate of occupancy. Is it an unoccupied storage building or is it an occupied
Whatever,
building?
it is unoccupied, but I misstated that. It was reviewed, I understand the town official was there and inspected it, and there was given some kind of approval that he could then operate out of it. I don't know, I wasn't involved, so I was, whatever happened, that project was completed. This structure is the structure that is in question.
And it's unoccupied right now.
Stuff in there. There is stuff from the tenant in there, but it is not running as an adult daycare facility.
You see you dancing around that. It's
Again,
occupied.
I just go out there, I did the original drawings, he asked me to do drawings for the conversion, and then I did it.
But you're saying a tenant as an adult daycare tenant?
That's correct, yes.
So it's
Well, they really aren't a tenant yet. It's.
Well,
So who's the owner of the daycare? Who the?
I don't know the person or that person's name or that prospective tenant's name. Greenwood is the owner of the property. So he owns all of this property plus that building as well, which is a office warehouse type building.
I know we were looking at walking parking from front of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I'm just gonna give you a comment, because I know Tom, you're familiar with the property. I don't think he converted this to apartments. It's a restaurant with kitchen and different sides. I think people are just living there. It's kind of was separated internally. Because he had meeting spaces,
Yeah.
right? And the building that they want to use was an event center. They would have weddings there. It's wide open. It's got kitchen, plumbing facilities. Right, the other building was the pavilion where it was a stage underneath. He's using it as a garage. You know, it's got lawnmowers and snow plows and stuff in it to help maintain his property. The other building, again, there's stuff in it, but nobody's using it, but nobody's occupying it as a business right now. Like, just so you know.
So he didn't build the
filling it.
interior of the
Yeah.
building for apartments, they're just living in the rooms?
No, he's all.
It's a really nice restaurant. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be a pretty nice place to
The
live.
records at the town office indicated, Tom Poitras approved 2 apartments. Before he left here.
In the large building,
Yes.
but in the
And
bigger
and the
building,
application also says that there are two apartments.
yeah, and in the back building, from what I understood at the beginning, somebody's dad lives there. So he might not be paying somebody right now. Oh,
No, I beg to differ on that. There, what building are you referring to that's occupied by someone's dad?
well, somebody said they may have use for their father. to-
As daycare, not to
Daycare.
live.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, proposed for adult daycare center.
And this building was
Which nobody,
converted.
I mean,
to
nobody
a
has a
park.
problem with the
Basically
uses.
convert, I didn't
Yeah.
understand that,
It's,
okay.
it was
It's not
converted.
allowed.
The kitchen equipment.
It's just
and-
not the lack
I
of
don't.
configuration that you've
I
got.
think it was Dale. I know it's all, you know, not the easiest.
It's a zoning issue.
It's a zoning issue.
Right.
It's,
So
you
would the zone,
can't have,
would the zoning variance be at an avenue?
yes, if you subdivide it, it would be a great idea. Like if you subdivide it, you can probably get all this variances that would be required if it was reasonable. And have an access easement.
Yeah, the access easement sounds the parking for the boat structures and they went through the existing driveway. There'd be a property line break between the 2 buildings with a side yard setback variance requirement.
Well, I guess I have to question, this thing is so overparked now too, right?
Yeah.
There is
now
so
it's
much parking.
Yeah,
You need 11, you've got 110.
Yeah, but that's an industrial though. Doesn't have-
For what use?
For the other building.
For the other, well, for that rate,
This-
would it be another?
The original intent was
This
that
parking
if
structure.
the winery was successful,
yeah, there was gonna be. a whole
there was
bunch of
going to be another structure over here that was going to be a banquet facility.
Yeah.
So there's already
And
process.
he anticipated that with drainage and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
That
Is
part,
that all lots?
Well,
Separate lot, no, it is one lot, but it's
Cross the
zoned,
zone, yeah, cross the zone.
what
yeah,
kind of parking do you need for that back building?
which back building?
The daycare.
Just going.
It needs like about.
Future
10,
daycare.
I think.
Where would you propose having them?
we would use an existing, yeah, we use the existing parking here.
You have
That's
either
on a
here
different lot,
or,
right?
this no,
No,
it's
no,
not parking
No,
for here.
it's
Right now, the existing lot is.
Where is the break on this map between industrial and business transition?
It comes along here and it kind of splits kind of down the drive, basically. It's somewhere in there.
So you can use parking in the less restricted zone for the more restricted, so that would be okay.
Yeah, so that solves the number of spaces because the apartment thing, depending on how we count spaces, where they have 2 apartments. Which is
We need 4 spaces.
But is the 2 apartments filling up the entire restaurant and second floor stuff, or is there also room for other things that could happen in there with needs more parking?
No, just the apartment.
I think the trustee.
How do
So
We have to look at that
Nobody
because
knows.
we
We
would
have
say,
to go
oh,
and
yeah, sounds good to
inspect
us, there's 4 spaces, and oops,
Right.
magically 4,000 square feet of something else shows up there needing
can I,
another thing and another change of, use thing.
Where do we go from here? Because I don't think we're gonna sit here and solve it right now.
No, but I'd like you to look at the subdivision. I think it's reasonable.
I think if we, like, can we get behind this issue of the line between the two buildings and decide that it's variance for those, or keep
think
it,
so.
keep the visual complex together? I'm supportive of that, because I like the presentation of this piece of land, so how do we move forward? I think I agree, I think that's the only reasonable path forward.
This was how the restaurant was subdivided, turned it into an apartment. This being one suite.
Yeah.
This being the other suite,
Some apartments.
is it
yeah,
1 story, 2 story?
one story, but it has very high ceilings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you they're nice.
That's what I mean, there is a second floor over part of the end.
Second floor over this area, but it has mechanical equipment in it.
Oh, up in that.
All,
zone, in that
yeah,
front corner.
that's second, it's
So
all,
second floor.
All second floor.
exactly.
Okay,
It's accessed only with a hatch here.
gotcha. I was looking for stairs, so it's.
No, there's no stairs for it.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
I don't know.
So explore that option. Know at least the position of our board right now.
I'll see what decision to take.
No, I know, but I think it's not that we don't want this to happen, it's that we can't do anything about it in the current proposal we have from us.
How do I get joining? How do I be back up here?
What else, we don't allow mixed,
Oh, we're looking at that.
yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay. And I don't know, again, I think we probably want the time to actually review it and
Not do it.
engage right now.
This paragraph in the code.
So we can certainly look at that. I think in the meantime, you should also look at the multi-play option, because I'm not sure that mixed use would apply, but in the event that we can make it work, great. If not, subdivision is probably gonna be your option to make this project viable.
Again, I'm sure that it's really doing all that's involved in the layout, I'm sure that's gonna be good. We're looking.
I guess what we gotta go from now, we can circle back with each other. So you have an opportunity to do that, you have an opportunity. More in depth in terms of that. That's what it's like.
What about the existing parking? Now, certainly there is significantly more parking there now than is required for the proposed uses. Now, that was indicative of the requirements for the winery and the type of public assembly type space that it was previously. So, is there an objection to that parking remaining?
Well, I think, Doug, yes.
Oh,
I'm not.
the excessive parking.
Well, if I might,
I mean, we try so hard to right size parking, every development we're doing. For the use. For a lot of good reasons.
this was,
So.
no, this was what was possibly or could possibly be developed on that site if the industrial zone would allow it. This was,
I don't.
is that over here?
Yeah.
This was something that we developed for that lot. It would address the overage of the parking. Because this is just a wide open green space right now. but because of the issues with these other uses, that's all been put on the back burner. But this was a way of developing that and utilizing the parking rather than turning it over and repairing.
So residential is not allowed.
What are they?
Residential, yes, understood. Yeah. Residential is not allowed in industrial district. So that was the question mark when it was initially proposed.
Right.
But we're trying to address any number of issues and doing it incrementally, but.
I might just make it.
What's right next door to it?
Which to the
This
west,
way, yeah.
that's an office, I think office warehouse building. It's on a spur going to
Industrial
the,
over there as well.
Northern Boulevard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's in that corner. I think parking is
Service station report, repair shop operators of.
And to the east, there's a repair shop there or something that's, and then there's a dump over here, and then to the north is the Northwood property that's accessed directly off the Northern Boulevard.
I don't know if that's I shouldn't say these words, but I don't know if that's something that's suitable for a zone change. I don't, want to.
Across the street, across Collimer Road is, there's a housing development there, so housing is in the area, but again, we were looking at what's the possibility for this particular.
Right.
How do you develop it?
Here's the thing, I know it, listen, I'm all about senior citizens, couple years, I'm gonna go over there myself, but
We're all there.
Doug and I, rather than meeting every night, we're meeting, we'll be rocking
rocking our walkers. Yeah.
it's, I also, what might be expeditious at this moment in time might not be best for this site either. Because it's possible that you're talking about something really good on that other site, if it goes through the proper channels.
Well, it had been posed to Peter Weber and Terry Brown. We had discussed it at one point to see if it were in fact a possibility, given the fact that it's zoned industrial and it's not.
Well, it's not possible industrial, but there's other routes to go.
Understood,
Right.
But at this point, the brakes were put on that
Right.
particular scheme. But I just wanted to address the parking issues because that would have required the additional parking that we would have suggested would have been plowed under, basically. So there was a thought.
I'm gonna make just an equitable point here is that extremely expensive parking that was built to get the prior use approved for the bistro and. It's just really, I don't think it'd be fair to condition approval on taking up that park.
Well, I mean, I understand now that that's actually shared parking with the building to the north. Like
It
they have-
is?
they have a-
No.
I thought it was.
No.
No.
The food truck?
When
Didn't
where
he-
the building is to the north. We did look at when there was gonna be development on the industrial site for the banquet facility, that also we were under parked. And there was some cross easement discussions about using the extra parking up there, because that was slightly over parked.
Right.
As a trade-off, and we got to that.
He owns, yes, he owns.
So we could look at, we looked at the idea of time of day versus use of banquet versus weekend versus that.
You're right.
And we got around that, I think
we
that would work.
Yeah.
So that's where that had come from.
I also think we
What's going on in
dedicate,
that building now?
Food truck?
It mixed office and store and.
Garage doors and then little offices and multi-mixed use kind of thing going on there.
Each one of those staggered blocks is an individual tenancy. So,
Truck bays.
Yes.
Right.
I do want to respect everybody's time here. Okay. I'm trying to go, we'll, review this. I ask you to do the same.
We need to look at the connection.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting it's a viable option there?
It's not something I research
Right.
right now, isn't it? Right?
We gotta look at all of it. We gotta get our ducks in a row, knowing,
I very much appreciate that you worked with that. Thank you.
yes.
But look at
Again,
the
we-
subdivision, not as hard as you think. It's not gonna be like the residential that's over there, that's a whole
Well,
different
it,
thing.
it just seems as though you would require variances given the setback requirements.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
but
But with a positive recommendation from this board,
That is a
that
possibility.
that is easier, yes.
Okay,
and we actually have done 0 lot lines. On buildings that are in
Mhm.
parks. Often it's because people wanna finance them separately. But you can't really finance them separately either in their current state. Should they ever wanna finance them, because the can't get a bank to give you the loans on them.
I don't know how he works with financing.
I don't know, he probably doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
finance.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just doubtful that he does it just fine.
Right, but I'm just saying, but even when like you wanna sell off the apartment building.
Well, if you do that,
Yep.
change ownership on that.
Okay.
And it maintains the compound character.
I think we have one last thing to discuss before you throw your hand up. I didn't even breathe heavy enough.
I get that all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Where you going?
Not on the agenda.
That's on page 3.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, it is, it's part of the meeting, sure, it's a public, yep, keep us on.
So.
Oh.
Yeah, touch the lead. What the discussion around.
The discussion was that, Thanksgiving is the.
Fourth Thursday.
Fourth
Always the fourth Thursday.
It's the 4th Thursday, but there's 5 Thursdays.
Yeah, but Thanksgiving is always the fourth Thursday.
I know, but it just so happens that there's 5 Thursdays in the month of November, so the proposal is, we'll keep our regularly scheduled meeting, which is the 2nd. Thursday, and then, change that one that would be Thanksgiving to the end of the month, the 5th Thursday, which is the 30th.
The 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would be the 8th,
The 9th.
The 9th.
I mean, the 9th, yep.
The 9th
Sorry,
and the 30th.
9th and the 30th, we skipped the Thanksgiving, gotcha.
And then our next meeting would be a regular 2-week cycle, which would be 2nd week of December.
Right.
The
But
14th.
then we deal with Christmas.
And then usually we don't have a meeting at
Right.
the end of December.
Right.
So the proposal would be that we move our 2nd November meeting to November 30th, cancel the
23rd.
the 23rd, thank you. And keep our regularly scheduled December
14th.
meeting on the 14th. And that the
Week of Christmas.
yes.
We would, the 28th would be.
That is tentatively canceled.
So what about A and B?
Well, that's the.
Somebody just, A or B just lost a meeting, right?
I tried to stick up for it. Hey. We could just put B out if there's no meeting there, we keep the same A, B, A, B, A, B.
So anything in B that needs to show up, they do on the A meeting.
They're not gonna wanna show up anyway, so
Right.
it'd be a problem.
When they, your schedule requires they change to the Thursday.
My point is you're skipping,
Originally,
if you kill the end of December, you're missing.
the originally published one,
So we're doing one meeting.
One we've been working on since July.
So we'll do the 14th.
All right.
We need
I agree with if they wanted
Would be
to
the
come
first
back
meeting in January would be A or B.
We would do an A and a B together.
And then they would just go back to B.
Yeah.
The problem with that, and the only problem, I don't have a problem with that particular, but. They then, it's too close for them to turn around to get back to the.
Right.
Right, there's not enough time for them to turn materials around to get back to Terry. Before the next required submission.
So let me switch, the first meeting in January should be.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we just, we're not doing one at the end of December, we just push B to the first one in January. And it keeps them, kind of, keep that pace. So we would just update that schedule that year, so eliminate that out, and push it forward.
and the whole reason we don't have the meetings now, because we don't want to come. But nobody wants to come.
That's the week between Christmas and New Year's.
I mean, the applicants don't come, no one comes. We would be the only ones that drop the count work.
So I'm fine with that.
And then we should put together a 2024 schedule, I can help you with that, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well, if you give us a template. then we
So
can-
motion for
Yeah,
that,
go ahead.
motion for that.
I'll move the. Second, Joe. All in favor? Good.
Second, Joe, okay, so this needs to be reported to the town clerk. So it can be published on the website and in the, whatever newspaper. And put on the bulletin board of the town.
Sounds good. So I just wanna make sure I heard everything correctly. That's the cancellation of the meeting on things, given the next the 30th.
Yes.
And then was there anything in the following?
The next meeting is the 14th.
Right, that's regularly scheduled, then no change on that one.
28th.
And the 28th gets.
One meeting.
Sounds good. Unless we
So the
really
one
need
in
to.
November, we would say
Oh.
reschedule, not cancel. And then the one in December is the one that's canceled. Yeah.
Reschedule, yeah, that's good, thanks.
Great. We good? There, there.
If we're due for meetings, it
Second.
counts as like two, right?
All in favor?
All in favor?
No.
Good night, thank you.
Good idea.
I do like
Man, I
to,
think
for
you have
those
the
of
longest
you
meeting now.
who have not
I
For those of you who have not heard this before, my very first board meeting went till 11:30 at night. And I'm like,
Some of the town of Ithaca ones.
No, I think, but
I'm like,
I just.
am I?
Go for 6 hours.
Oh, you're like, what did I sign up for?
Yeah.
The first one I came to, everybody started talking about the 81 project and we were here for 2 hours. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
You're like, what did I sign up for?
And I was like, ooh, I cannot talk about the 81